I'm very pleased to welcome you back to Noosa Mining Virtual. Up next, we have Genex Power. We'll be hearing from Executive Director Simon Kidston. Thanks, Simon. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Amy. Good afternoon, everyone. Really exciting time to be here for Genex shareholders. And the reason for that is that we expect to make some significant announcements over coming weeks and months, which I think have the potential to significantly re-rate the way the market looks at Genex and values Genex shares. And that's mainly because we're on the cusp of delivering our strategy, which is the creation of a renewable energy hub, which you can see on the image in front of you. Okay, so apologies for technical errors. Anyway, the thing is, Genex is now capitalised at $90 million and we have a very strong cash backing. So as of 30 June, we're reporting cash of just below $70 million, which means we're significantly funded to deliver on our growth strategy. The other key takeaway here is the board and management are significant shareholders in the business. And that means there's a very strong alignment of interest between the management of your company and every single shareholder. And that is why we're committed to delivering the milestones, delivering the strategy, and seeing the company re-rate over time. The business is all about renewable energy generation and energy storage. And our focus has been and remains focused on the Kidston Clean Energy Hub up in North Queensland. And this site is now being developed in stages. The first stage is a 50 megawatt solar farm. It's been operating since 2017, and that produces strong cash flows for the business under long-term contract. Stage 2 is our pump storage hydro project, and we're on the cusp of completing the planning, the feasibility, the design, and kicking off construction very shortly to what will be a very significant piece of energy infrastructure for the state of Queensland. Beyond that, we've got stage 3 expansion of further wind and solar at this same site. Importantly, in New South Wales, we're significantly into the construction phase of the Jemalong Solar Farm. It's located in Forbes, New South Wales, and we expect that project to commence generation and first revenues to Genex by December of this year. I want to talk about our corporate portfolio and in particular the strategy, which really underpins everything we do at Genex. And it's all about a focus on renewable energy generation, but putting in place a portfolio of long-term contracts that will underpin cash flow and over time dividends to our shareholders. The first project, Kidston Stage 1, perfectly demonstrates that strategy. We have a 20-year contract with the Queensland Government, which runs till July 2038, which underpins a substantial revenue stream to the business by the government guaranteeing a price for every megawatt hour of energy the project produces into the market. So that project is now operating very well, and we've now embarked on the construction of our second project, the Jemalong Solar Farm in New South Wales. And what we intend to do over time here is to contract a portion of the revenues, again, consistent with the strategy of identifying tier 1, very strong financial customers who would like to partner with us and we'll provide the energy to them under long-term contracts. So we'll have more to say to that via the market announcements over coming weeks and months. Stage K2 Hydro, our flagship project, we announced in March a binding contract with Energy Australia. And this contract really is the critical element to the financing of the project. And what we've done here is partnered with one of the largest energy retailers in the country, Energy Australia. They're rated BBB+. And Energy Australia will be the operator of our hydro pump storage, and they will pay over 30 years a fixed and growing cash flow that enables Genex over time to pay a portion of those cash flows to our shareholders via dividends once the project is up and running. So the key terms, it's 30 years via 3 10-year periods. Energy Australia will be the operator of the plant, and they will take all energy price risk, energy volume risk, all transmission loss risk, and pay a very stable cash flow to Genex, which we think will be a fantastic milestone when achieved. Pump storage hydro. Look, it's a very mature technology. It's been around for more than 100 years. Significant installed capacity in Europe, the US and China, elsewhere in Asia. In Australia, there's only 3 operating plants. The Tumut 3, which is part of Snowy Hydro, been operating since the 70s, undergoing expansion at the moment. There's a Shoalhaven operated by Origin Energy in New South Wales, and there's one near Brisbane called Wivenhoe, owned by the Queensland Government. So our project, when it's operating, will be the 4th pump hydro project in this country. And I guess what we're seeing more broadly, and the reason why this project has become to such prominence in the market, is that this will be the first pump storage project developed in this country for 40 years. And the reason why there's momentum to build more capacity around the world, but including Australia, is because the energy markets are transitioning from a very carbon intensive generation model of coal-fired power stations to a network which has now got a growing penetration of intermittent wind and solar generation. So what the grid is crying out for is a reliable, low-cost way to store energy. And this project has really come around at the perfect time, because this pump hydro project stores energy and now allows it to be dispatched into the market at times of peak demand. So right place and right time, and that's exactly what our project will deliver to the market in Queensland. So a little bit more detail. The project itself has attracted significant interest from not just the state government, the federal government, but the local community. And there's several reasons for this. Firstly, because hydro acts as a giant water battery, it provides stability to the grid. It enables the grid to be matched between supply and demand. And very, very importantly, in a time of COVID, construction jobs will be very, very significant from this project. Some 500 jobs will be created by this project, which will be a significant boost for Queensland and particularly regional Queensland economy. So it's for a variety of reasons that this project has retained the strong support of both the Queensland government, the state government and the local community. One thing in hydro, bigger truly is better. And in our case, the pits that I guess the site itself is once a very, very large gold mine that's being redeveloped into this renewable energy hub. And we're taking advantage of 2 enormous holes in the ground, or mine pits. And our lower reservoir is more than 300 metres deep. So you can imagine the huge water pressure that occurs when water plunges down 300 metres of tunnels and pipes, spins through turbines to generate power. Enormous pressure drives efficiency of the system. In fact, so much water flows through these turbines that it's enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool every 15 seconds. So it's just one of those unique characteristics of this project that really does drive the efficiency of this machine. The project itself has been sized as 250 megawatts. It can generate for up to 8 hours in a typical daily pumping cycle. And all of the key elements have now been completed. So the project being shovel ready has all the permits in place, all the feasibilities are done. The funding arrangements have been largely finalised, and we expect to commence construction very shortly, certainly well before the end of this calendar year. This is an image of what these turbines will look like. They're being manufactured by a world leader European firm called Andritz. We'll be installing 2 of these units, some 200 metres below the Earth's surface in a turbine hall. And it's these turbines that will both generate electricity when the water flows through the turbines, but also when they turn around and go in reverse mode, they'll pump the water back up to the upper reservoir at times when that's required to be done on a daily basis. Fantastic machines from a tier 1 supplier. This project is shovel ready, and it is shovel ready because we have partnered with tier 1 counterparties in the development of this project. And first and foremost is our partnership with Energy Australia. They will be the operator of the hydro project. They will do so for up to 30 years, and they will provide the long-term contractual certainty, the long-term revenue contract, which underpins the project finance of the project, and ultimately over time will enable the dividends paid to our shareholders. We've also announced a strategic arrangement with J-Power. J-Power is one of the large Japanese energy utilities. They operate a significant number of hydro projects in Japan, and they have agreed via an MOU to provide technical expertise and financial support to the funding of this project. So great partnership indeed. We've also finalised now the pricing and contractual arrangements with the builder. It's a joint venture between John Holland and McConnell Dow. And that's a very important contract for us because I guess the price is agreed. Any cost overruns or time delays will be for the account of the builder, which means that Genex and its shareholders will be shielded from that typical risk that one can see in large-scale construction projects. In terms of funding, the federal government has been fantastic through the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility. They've agreed to provide a concessional loan of up to $610 million. And that's a very low cost, long-term financial arrangement, which really underpins the project finance for this project. We're also in the midst of finalising our discussions with ARENA, another federal government body, about a further potential contribution they can make to this project. And finally, possibly the last piece of the puzzle is Powerlink and the Queensland government. The government have announced a co-funding of a brand new transmission line to this site. They're going to put in $132 million. Genex will tip in $100 million, and we expect to finalise the documentation about that in the next couple of weeks. And once we've done that, all the pieces of the puzzle will be in place for this project to kick off construction in the very, very short term. So I guess one thing I'd like to emphasise is this project has some significant benefits. I think the benefits to our shareholders will become apparent over time, but I guess in addition to that, there's a very significant contribution this project will make to the grid stability, balancing supply and demand, enabling the introduction of more renewable projects, but also the very material benefit of 500 direct construction jobs at a time when, of course, the economy is crying out for economic activity. So again, the project is coming along at the right time, and we're very fortunate now the project is shovel ready to be able to deliver those benefits to Queensland and the broader economy. I just want to talk a little bit about our operating solar farm. You can see an aerial image of our stage 150 megawatt solar farm. It's been operating for a couple of years now. It's generated just under $30 million of revenue during that time. And because of the long-term contract with the Queensland government, we expect that cash flow to continue for many, many decades into the future. So a great asset. It's a great underpinning of the business to have that strong partnership with the Queensland government and the guaranteed revenue from that contractual arrangement. In addition to that, I mentioned our Jemalong project in New South Wales. This is located in the town of Forbes in New South Wales. We're now roughly 50% through the construction phase, and we expect that project to energise, which means we generate first revenues in December of this year. And you can see some photographs there of some of the activity that's happening on site. All of the construction activities are proceeding. We're very happy with the way it's being built, and certainly on track to deliver those first revenues by December. That milestone alone, I think, is a significant potential re-rating event for the way the market views our companies, because we expect our revenues to double once this project is operating and selling energy into the grid. We do have a pipeline of projects up at Kidston in North Queensland. Our intention is to develop these once we've completed the hydro project financing, and that's a portfolio of wind assets and solar assets. So the strategy here is to leverage the site, squeeze the infrastructure that exists very hard, and to deliver very low cost economic projects into the grid and for the benefit of our shareholders. And of course, we'll maintain our strategy of doing so under long-term contractual arrangements. So whilst Genex is very, very focused on delivering returns to our shareholders and creating wealth for our shareholders, we are equally committed to being a good corporate citizen. And the way we really benchmark ourselves here is in the form of CO2 abatement. And by 2024, when our portfolio of assets are up and running, this company will be, I guess, offsetting around 2 million tonnes of CO2 per annum. So that really is a very significant amount of CO2 carbon reduction. So I guess we're very pleased as a company, and I guess our shareholders have the benefit of knowing that we're very, very focused on their needs, but also delivering returns back to the environment. So if I've got any more time, I'll just quickly wrap up and say that in summary, we've got a very, very sound business model backed by long-term contracts. Over the next little period, we're going to have some major milestones which we'll announce to the market, which have the potential to significantly re-rate the way the company is viewed by the market. And in the short term, we've got the Jemalong project, which will double our cash flows from December of this year. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Simon, and thank you for joining us today. If you have a question for Simon, make sure you head to the Genex Power Company description at our website and click the contact links. We'll be back soon after this short break.